To Rachel on a beautiful Haftarah this morning, Rashat Kedoshim. We stand together as we offer a blessing for the new month. Rosh Chodesh, a new month is upon us. The month of Iyar is coming. We stand page 150 in our prayer book. Please rise. Redeeming them from slavery to freedom, redeem us soon and gather are dispersed from the four corners of the earth in the fellowship of the entire people of Israel, and let us say, Amen.
מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו וגאל אותם מעבדות לחירות ויגאל אותנו בקרוב יכבד כתפינו מהבקשות הארץ חברים כל ישראל ונאמר אמן. ראש חודש אייר, ביום הרביעי ביום החמישי, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה.
The month of Iyar will begin on Tuesday night, continuing both on Wednesday and on Thursday. May it hold blessing for us and for all of the Jewish people. Peter concludes the blessing at the bottom of the page.
יחדשהו ולשפחו עלינו ולעמו בית ישראל לחיים ולשלום לששון ולשמחה לישועה ולנחמה ולומר
Amen. We may be seated. We continue with the ushering, middle of 151 in our
אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד יהלל חסדה אשרי העם שככה לו אשרי העם שלום אלוהיו תהילה לדוד ארומים כלו המלך ארבעת חשיבך לעולם ועד גדול אדוני ובכבוד בדין גדולתו אין חקר הדר כבודך בדברי נפלותיך שיחה זכר רבתך יביאו וצדקתך ירוננו כבוד המלכות ורחמה בכל מצב כבוד מלכותך יאמרו גבורתך ידברו מלכותך מלכות כל עמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור הנה כל עיניך יסבירו ותמת להם את אוכלם ביתו צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו וחסיד בכל מעשיו רצון יראיו יעשה והקשבתם ישמע ויושיעם תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו יברך כל מעשה שם קודשו ללמד נברך יעצה ביד עולם hallelujah.
We stand together as the Torah is returned. 153 in our prayer book.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nitzchak Shemo levado, Odau ha'eretz v'shamayim, Arem keren le'amah, Tehillah le'amah, Lifnei Yisrael am kerova, Hallelujah. היחסות יערות, ובחזות גוזו בכבוד, אדוני המלכויה, שרי שלום לקח לעולם, אדוני יום ויום ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, ובנותו יאמר, את חייבי למחזיק עמך, וצומחך מאושר דרכיה, חי גדולה בכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
We may be seated. I remember a few years ago when I was starting here at Or Chadash, when we were in the other building, and it was Young Family Shabbat time, and at that time we didn't have a full-time cantor, and I was told just lead the Young Family Shabbat service, and I said, well, who would like to play guitar? And they gave me a list of like 3 or 4 names of the congregation at the time, so I called them all. They were all out of town, and so I was trying to think what I should do, and then I was introduced to a friend, Jacob Goldstein. And little did I come to know that Jacob was an amazing musician, still is an amazing musician, and he said, let's just meet up, we'll learn some music together. Remember this? And he was awesome. So we should have him come back one of these days for Young Family Shabbat, get on guitar again, because he rocked it out. I've invited Jacob to speak this morning, and I don't want to take any thoughts away, but with Yom HaTzmaut, Yom HaZikaron coming up in the month of Iyar, Yom HaShoah beginning tomorrow evening, Jacob recently was in Israel, and he's an amazing speaker, he's a wonderful person, and he's a mensch. As I like to say, for families whose parents are committed to Jewish living, I like to say it's the apple that the etrog doesn't fall far from the tree. And certainly in the Goldstein family, that is certainly the truth. Grandparents and parents, to Steve and Beth certainly, and Bernie, Yvette, and the rest of the family. Jacob certainly comes from a wonderful family. And I asked him to come forward in the spirit of the season to share his thoughts about who he was as a Jew, and then where he became connected to his Judaism after his birthright trip to Israel that he took this past year, not too long ago. So Jacob, come on up. And we're looking forward to your insights in your words this morning.
Shabbat Shalom. That was a very nice introduction, Rabbi. A lot of you may know me as the son of Stephen Goldstein. Otherwise, I'm known as Jacob. And like you said, I'm here to talk to you about my birthright trip, which I took through ASU Hillel. We have Debbie in the house tonight, or today, excuse me. She does great things over there, by the way, so just letting you know. But before I start, can I just see what's going on in the room through hands? How many of you have not been to Israel before? Okay. And let's just see how many have been to Israel in here. Cool. All right, so my purpose for this talk is, I'm sure a lot of you do understand already, but if not, I just want to reiterate why Israel is such an important part of our lives as Jews. But I may have different ideologies about this, and so in order to understand where I'm coming from, I need to share a little bit of my background and my experience with Judaism. So I'll start from the beginning. My parents are awesome. They only wanted the best for me. So my first few grade school years, I was enrolled in a Jewish day school. And I would eat, sleep, and breathe the Torah and all that fun stuff. And they just wanted to make sure that Judaism was a big part of my life. And I understand now why they did that, but at the time, it wasn't working out too well for me. And by third grade, I was in public school. So we won't go into the details as of why, but that's what happened. And my parents still persisted in maintaining my growth as a Jew. And I was still sent to Hebrew school, just like everyone else, had my bar mitzvah, participated in Jewish holidays. But for some reason, this actually seemed to push me further away from the religion. I didn't like being associated as a Jew. And I mean, my last name is Goldstein, so I probably should have just dealt with it, but I didn't. And growing up in the United States with Christianity as the dominant religion, you get this feeling in public school sometimes where, you just don't belong. And I wanted to be normal, like the rest of the kids at school, and they had all these fun holidays like Christmas and Easter, and where's the candy for Passover? I don't know. So for the longest time, I may have taken the prize for the worst Jew on earth, but it's okay. By high school, the only times I ever associated myself with Judaism was when I was forced to come to high holiday services here and sit through Passover Seders, that kind of stuff. And then even when I went to Hebrew High, I would, go back to my old ways, not really attend classes too much. I actually remember I told my parents I was enrolled in a guitar class, so I would bring my guitar to school, but there was no guitar class, and that's another thing. But it was the last place I wanted to be at the time, and at the end of my high school days, my parents finally started talking to me about taking my Birthright trip. And I always known about this because my sister went on it, I knew it was coming. But for me, I had better things to do with my time. Why would I want to go spend some time in Israel, the last place I want to be? But I followed them for a good 2 years on this through college and stuff like that. And I finally gave in to their demands and signed up through ASU Hillel for Birthright. But I justified this by saying, I'm majoring in journalism over there, so it's just another place for me to travel to and mark off the bucket list. It had no meaning to me, like how they wanted it to mean to me. So that was before I went. And now let's talk about what happened after. So I guess the first thing we need to talk about is the people that I met at this Birthright trip. So I hadn't even really been in a room with maybe 40 other Jews my age in a long, long time. And the thing about Jews getting together is there's this immediate common bond in the fact that you share the same religion. Just no matter what, it's just going to happen. And it's not like we talked about Judaism. We talked about our lives, school, music, sports, everything a normal student would talk about. But in the back of our minds, we still knew we had this similarity between all of us. So to see the change in personalities from day 1 to day 10 of people on the Birthright trip was pretty incredible. And what happens in Israel when you're Jewish is pretty incredible. You start to feel comfortable in your own skin as a Jew. And why? Well, we talked about this a lot on the trip, but the reason why I think it is because, like I said, the U.S. is a Christian nation at the end of the day, and places shut down on Christmas, and school districts are catered around those holidays and everything like that. But just think of everything like that was catered towards the Jewish religion. Welcome to Israel. Streets close on Shabbat. Literally turn into a ghost town on Shabbat. And klezmer music can be heard on street corners, as well as pop music, of course, but they have a lot of people just playing clarinets on the street that you don't see here. In Jerusalem, bar and bat mitzvahs are public celebrations where they just dance in the streets, come on and join me. I found myself dancing with a random family. It was a great time. So, but just imagine the look on people's faces if we were just holding a bar mitzvah in the middle of the street here in Scottsdale. Oh, it would be great, wouldn't it? But the first few days while we were there, these types of situations and occurrences were definitely a bit of a shock to us. And after 3 to 4 days, we became used to it. And I really did feel like, my gestures, my mannerisms, everything became a little bit more Jewish. I felt myself making more cultural references to the religion, offering to lead Kiddush, discussing Israeli politics even, and trying to learn more Hebrew. And it was a weird thing, but all of us in the group realized it was happening. We just weren't exactly sure why. And then, so then later on in the trip, Israeli soldiers were brought into the group, and not for our protection, but they were also there to experience the sights and sounds that we were going to experience. They had just finished with their mandatory 2 years of service, so they were very excited about that. But before they came to the group, everyone was a little bit nervous and on edge. We were all wondering, what will they be like? Will they judge us for our American ways? And will we be able to get along with someone who lives a completely different lifestyle than us? And, are the girls as attractive as everyone says? No, I'm just kidding. But I guess the lesson to be learned is to never judge, period. Because what happened was these soldiers were the most amazing people I've ever met in my life, honestly. And, they have been in the Army while I've been lazily making my way through ASU classes. But they still are so similar to me that it's scary. And many of them share the same music taste as I do. And we all love, going out and having a good time, whether it's on Mill Avenue in Tempe or Ben Yehuda Street in Jerusalem. It's generally the same thing. And, we taught them words in English slang, and they taught us Hebrew slang and all that fun stuff. And so I just learned so much from these soldiers that I never ever thought I would learn in my entire life, just from a person my age. I just thought that was incredible. So now I realize I haven't even talked about the sights yet, so I should probably go into that. The first place we went to right off the plane was the Golan Heights. We didn't go too deep into it. We talked about history and everything, but we went to a really high point there and said a Shechianu prayer because it was the first day, and it was just a good moment kind of to foreshadow what was to come for everyone. After that, we stayed in one of the first kibbutzes in Israel, and it was lovely, of course, like staying in a hotel, only with better service, better people there, everything like that. So if you ever get a chance to stay in a kibbutz, do it. After that, we went to Jerusalem, and that's when it really started to hit me. Something just about being in this old city, seeing the walls and smells of lamb shawarma and all that good stuff. It was just a lot. And we went to the Kotel, of course, and that is just as amazing as everyone will tell you. And everywhere in Israel, you have Orthodox Jews that are trying to get you to put on tefillin, even in malls and public places like that. And you just walk by them and be like, come on, what are you doing? But at the Kotel, they were there too, and I don't know why. I just decided to go for it, put on some tefillin and pray with these Orthodox Jews. And people that know me pretty well would be really shocked to hear me make this statement. But it was just something compelled me to do it. It was a very surreal moment, and I think it could have only happened because I was standing at what we call the holiest place in our religion. And even though I didn't care at all in the beginning, something at that moment made me care, and I'll never be able to replicate that feeling, honestly. So basically it just made me think there is this strange feeling about being an American Jew. You get so caught up in this busy life of trying to make something of yourself and capitalism and whatever you want to call it, but you forget about these traditions that make up the core of who we are as Jews. And I'm talking about the simple things like, kissing a mezuzah when you walk through the door, and lighting Shabbat candles and saying the Shema before you go to bed. Those things lost importance to me as I adapted to the lifestyle of a United States citizen throughout growing up here. But Israel never lost these traditions, and there's no need to hide them in their country. So being at the wall really showed me why people speak so highly of Israel. There is no other place in the world where a Jew can truly feel like a majority and not a minority, and this is why people are so passionate about the country. So, let's talk about the passion. And they call it Ruach over there, spirit. But they're the most passionate people of all time. And it definitely has something to do with their military system. Of course, it enhances their sense of nationalism and pride and everything like that. But, if they were to see how a lot of people in the U.S. nowadays respond to their country, they would be in a little bit of shock, and I think they are. So, yes, every country has their problems, but at least in Israel, there is a common bond found between citizens over just pure love of the homeland, you know? And that can't really be found here in the U.S. Why? Well, Mexican Americans have Mexico and long for their homeland there, and it's the same thing for Asian Americans, as their ancestors come from places like China, Japan, Korea, etc. But where did the Jews come from? Where can we go back to if the United States is no more? And that's really the question that comes to mind when the subject of Israel comes up. Because, you know, why do we even care about this little piece of land? It's just such a small thing, it causes so many problems. What are we doing over there, you know? But, you know, I think now is a good time to bring up the Holocaust. And Yom HaShoah is right around the corner. Every year, we remember the tragedy of World War II and the lives that were lost. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But for a lot of people, myself, it's another Jewish holiday, it's Yom HaShoah. And I know it's not necessarily a nice thing to say, but before I went to Israel, that may have been how I thought. And sure, you know, I definitely understood the lessons and everything like that, but did I really feel for my own Jewish brothers and sisters that lost their lives in the Holocaust? No. But this year will be different because, you know, we went to Yad Vashem, and I've been to Holocaust museums before as a kid, and yes, they're very sad, but it wasn't until this age when I truly understood what I was looking at. And also the thing that museum does is they individualize the accounts, whereas the DC Museum will give you kind of broad perspective of what's going on, but there it's personal stories that are the exhibits, not just a broad perspective. And it was really a deep moment for I feel like everyone in the group. You know, going there, I now understand how lucky I am to grow up in a world with Israel in my life as a Jew, because, you know, all these families in the mid-1900s, even when they were hearing about concentration camps and other things, even if they wanted to leave, like where were they going to go? They had nowhere to go. The U.S. wasn't taking people in. These type of things I didn't even really think about until I was there, until I was really conscious about what was going on. And yes, the Holocaust is, of course, a huge reason why Israel exists in the first place. But when people talk about getting rid of it like it's no big deal, we as Jews seriously have a duty to silence these people. And we as Jews need to be Zionists. I know that there's some bad connotation with the word. I don't understand why, but we need to be Zionists because who else is going to speak for us? We have to speak for ourselves. If we're not advocating for Israel, no one else will be. And yes, you know, like I said, we can get really caught up in the fast life over here in the U.S., but if we don't stop to remember where our people came from and what they have been through, we'll see ourselves again in a tragic place, just as in the past. So it's not enough just to be a Jew. We have to understand what that means, and it's a hard thing for people to do. It's a hard thing especially for myself to do, but that's why we go to Israel. And to remember what it's like to value these Jewish traditions and realize how important they actually are. And, you know, when you grow older, you want your kids to have a bar mitzvah and carry these values throughout their lives. And I didn't want my kids to have a bar mitzvah before I went to Israel. And now I do. So it definitely brought a change there. And at the same time, though, I can understand why people are afraid of standing up for Israel. They don't always do what's best in some people's opinions, and the media over here definitely doesn't help. But at the same time, you know, before I left for Israel, I had non-Jewish friends ask me, "Well, are you sure that's a good idea? You're going to get blown up. What are you doing?" But I had this conversation with the soldier over there. He put things into a great perspective for me. I said, what's it like living in a place where bombings and terrorist attacks are happening every day? And he asked me, what's it like living in a place where public shootings are happening every day? And I just really liked that response. I don't know, I thought I'd share that with you. There's a lot to think about there. And I realize this has been pretty heavy right now, so let's talk about what's good about Israel. First of all, Israeli culture has invaded the U.S. I don't think people realize this, but there's a huge song on the radio right now. I'm not going to say its name actually because, you know, God's looking down on me and everything, but it's produced by a huge DJ group from Israel called Balkan Beatbox. The newest Lady Gaga album is produced by an Israeli group called Infected Mushroom. And Facebook just purchased a company called WhatsApp for $23 billion that was created by an Israeli coder in his bedroom in Tel Aviv. They have the third largest tech organizations in the, or, you know, they have the third largest tech company center in the world in Tel Aviv. It's on par with Silicon Valley. Many coders from the US are going to Israel to take jobs over there because it's such a big deal. Other things that they do that are amazing are all their water heaters are outside of their house and solar power. Imagine if we did that here in Arizona, it'd be crazy, but I don't know. You know, and all their food is homegrown. There's no chemically produced apples that you're eating over there, not showered with pesticides. And I lost weight just from eating the food. Just literally, that's all I needed to do. So you see what I'm trying to say. I could go on about the differences between here and the US, but honestly, even if you are affected even the slightest bit by this little conversation, you're not going to understand until you set foot into the country itself and experience it for yourself. So I know that Or Chadash is, or TBD, is planning a trip next summer to Israel. And if you've never been, you need to go. You really need to go. Yes, you will eat the most amazing food in your life and see the most beautiful places and meet the most vibrant and passionate people that you may have met in a long time. But when you come back, you will not be the same because you'll realize that there is a homeland for people like you and me. And it's not that place off Scottsdale Road you've been working on for years. It's a place called Israel. So thank you.
I just want to say, Mr. Koch, just one other piece I think the congregation needs to hear. Tell them as a response to your Birthright experience, what will be your connection with Israel in terms of the next few months?
Oh, okay. So I'm going back this summer for 2 months. I'm so lucky. I'm really lucky, but somehow I got a Jerusalem Post internship. So I'll be going there for 2 months and see what happens.
Jacob, and before you know it, you'll be speaking Hebrew fluently, and you'll be our guide next summer when we go to Israel. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish, page 155. And Jacob, in your honor, please stay for Kiddush so people can greet you. We have a very special cake in your honor. Please rise, 155, Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadash Shemirabah Yalmadi Bakute Yalmid Malchute B'chei Chol V'Mekol V'chei B'chol Beit Yisrael V'Galav Yisman Kariv Yimru Amen V'Hishmei Rabba V'Nevara Le'alam Le'Havaya Yitzvara Yitzvara V'Yishtabach V'Yivrak Tumah V'Yinasev Yitadar Yitalev Yitalash V'Nigadashah V'Riku Leila Mikmechata V'Shirata Tishvata V'Nechmata V'Miram Melma V'Yimru Amen
Yamidah 156b for Musa.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Hayom Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekomeh Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot Umebi Goel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Pokedu Moshiach U'Magin Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham U'Poked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai B'chayei Meitim Atah Rav Lehoshia Morit Atal Mechapel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayei Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofech Cholim Umatir Asurim, Ubekayek, Emunato, Ishene Afam, Mitam Rochel Ba'al Geburot, Umitam Rela, Melech Mevit, Umechayek, Umasbiach Yeshua,
ונאמנת על החיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. נעריצה ונקדישה ושאלתי אחר כגולת המקדישים שמך בקולת הכתוב היה לידך וקראת אל זה נאמר קדוש קדוש אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו מלא עולם ושקף שואלים זה לזה שואלים זה לזה איה מכל כבודו איה מכל כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך אדוני
Continue with Kaddish Shalem on page 181.
יתקרא ויקרא שמי רבה, ואלמני ואחרתי, ואלי כפותי, בחיי כולם ובכל בחיי לכל בית ישראל, וגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן, יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם לעולם יתברך, יתברך בשבת, יתברך בשבת ויתנשא, ויתהדר 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 שמי לקדושה, וכולי לעמים ובחטא בשירתה, תשפחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה ויאמרו, אמן. תתקבל צלותיהם ובעלתיהם דכל ישראל, קודם ובהם דבשמיא ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמר אברהם שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, אמן. עושה שלום ברמה ויעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו, אמן.
In Kilohenu, page 182 in our prayer.
In Kilohenu, in Kilohenu, in Kilohenu, in Kilohenu, mi Elohenu, mi Kilohenu, mi Kilohenu, mi Kilohenu, Gadol Elohenu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Magenu, Gadol Mashiachenu, Baruch Elohenu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Mashiachenu, Atahu Elohenu, Atahu Elohenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Mashiachenu, Atahu Shetiru, Avatenu, Levaneha and Torah.
Please get Kilohenu 183.
Hallelujah, Shabbat Adonako, Lasei Gedula, Leser Reshit, Shelo Asanu Be'aratan, Melo Samanu K'mitzvot Adonai, Shelo Samho Kenukahem, V'gor Aleinu K'yamol Amonam, V'anachnu Korim, V'mishracha v'yumadim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei Hamadim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We may be seated. In our community this Shabbat, remember the souls this week of Ruth Krasno, mother of Renee Feinberg, grandmother of Michael Feinberg, the Device, Julie Seifert, Bonnie Rapport, mother of Beth Hoffman, Shirley Grossberg, mother of Linda Farber, Delia Goodman, sister of Larry Seaman, Wallace Rosenthal, father of Jamie Rosenthal, Dorothy Glazer, mother of Jerry Glazer, Fanny Gordon, mother of Claire Altman, Rose Kleiman, grandmother of Steve Shiner, Herman Costco, uncle of Marvin Costco, of blessed memory. And of course, this Sunday night, we remember the souls of the over 6 million Jews alone and others whose lives were slaughtered, gassed, burned, and taken away as victims in the Holocaust. This time, the Mourners Kaddish 184. If you'd like to rise also for those whose lives will always be in memory to all of us. Page 184 of our prayer book. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma, Tivrach, Rutei, Be'alich Malchutei, B'chayechon, B'yomechon, V'yei B'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, B'zman Kravim, B'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah V'barach, Le'olam Ma'eh Hamayah. Yitbarach, V'yishkabach, Yitahar, V'yitramach, V'yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalach, Shmei V'yishah, B'richu, be seated. A few announcements. Alan Silverman, our president here at Congregation TBD. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, everybody who participated in the service. Special thank you to Rachel Rabinovich for reading such a beautiful Haftarah, and for Jay Levitin, who read Torah for the first time in 25 years, since his 25th anniversary of his Bar Mitzvah. So thank you to all of you and everybody else who participated in the services. Jacob, you did an outstanding job, and I just recommend, I mean, there's so many young people who are going through what you went through, and it would just be great if we could figure out a way of getting you in front of not the alpha but the young people, and give that kind of a speech and all that. And because there's such a need. And I know at ASU there's a number of programs, and they're working very hard at trying to get to, especially the Jews who are, I'll say, uninvolved right now. And I was just so happy to hear about your transformation. And and I understood exactly what you were saying, and it makes so much sense, as to what caused you to feel differently. And it would just be so great if every person, let alone every Jew, can go to Israel and experience what you did. So Yashiko for a beautiful talk. A couple of announcements. As you all know by now, next Saturday night is Martini Margarita night. It's going to be a fantastic event. If you haven't signed up, sign up. It's going to just be a terrific event. Week after that is the socialite events of Jews telling jokes, and it's going to be the last socialite event of the year. It's going to again be a terrific event. This Sunday night, this Sunday is Yom HaShoah at Bethel Congregation, 3 o'clock. There's going to be a community-wide remembrance. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have here at Or Chadash a viewing and discussion of the film Night and Fog. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's a really, really terrific film, so I want to see it. And if you can make it 7 o'clock, come, bring your friends. It should be a really interesting evening. Wednesday night, April 30th, we'll join our friends at the Episcopal Church of the Nativity for a discussion of the movie Noah. And so please, if you're available, Wednesday night, April 30th, please come there. Reminder, Rabbi Sharon Brous is going to be in town. It's co-sponsored by Valley Bet Midrash and Or Chadash, and she'll be here May 13th at the JCC. There is no cost for it; it's free, and there will be desserts there also. So with that, I think next week, the next 2 weeks, we're actually going to be having services at Lexus Camp. We have Bar Mitzvahs. Next 6 weeks in a row, we have Bar Mitzvahs. But the next 2 weeks, the Bar Mitzvahs are going to be at the Lexus JCC campus. Shabbat Shalom.
Also, just 2 quick announcements. I wanted to bring your attention to, it's in the e-bulletin, but in case you didn't see it, we're going to have our Cantors Club celebration on May 17th. It's going to be here after the bat mitzvah that morning. We're going to have an ice cream party, and then you can bring in any Cantors Club chips that you've accumulated for some prizes, redeem them for some prizes. So we hope you'll come to, if you can, hopefully you can make it. If you can't, let me know. I'll get you a prize somehow. Also, the Phoenix Symphony will be performing Verdi's Requiem tonight. I'm in the chorus, and so I will be there. So if you're coming, that's great. If you are not coming and you are interested in coming, speak to me after. I may be able to get you a discounted ticket. So.
Who has seen Night and Fog? I was told to stretch since the font's not ready. Who has seen Night and Fog? If you haven't, you need to be here Sunday night. It was one of the first films that came out post-Holocaust. It is in French with English subtitles. It is a powerful film, not like The Wizard of Oz, going back and forth between black and white and color, although it does that. And it kind of goes back and forth between when the film was produced by Al Morai and what it looked like back before the war, particularly focused on Auschwitz-Birkenau. So we're going to take a look at the film on Sunday evening. It's not a very long film. It's a very disturbing film, but we need to continue to see it, and we need to continue to remember. It's people like Ike Ficus that survived Birkenau, Auschwitz, that demand from us to never forget and to always remember. And so we vow to that we will be there on Sunday at 3 o'clock. You have my word, I will be there, and I expect people to be here on Sunday night at 7 o'clock as we remember and memorialize those who went to the gas chambers, the forests, those who were taken from their homes, and they never returned, ever again.
And if you can't make either of those, there's another commemoration at the JCC at 9:30 on Monday morning.
Okay, so no excuses. We have our obligation and we cannot forget. Adon Olam, page 187 in our Siduri.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terech kol yitzir nivra le'nasa b'chetzo kol azai melech shemo nitra ve'acharei yiflot hakol le'ato yimloch dora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyah v'tifara ve'hu echad ve'en sheni le'hamshir lo le'achbira ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'ha'misra ve'hu eili ve'chai go'ali ve'zor eili ve'etzara ve'hu nisi umanosli ve'natosi ve'yom ekra ve'yado afidrufi ve'etisha ve'ahira ve'imrufi gebiati Adonai li ve'lo
We stand together for the Shomer celebrating Shabbat with Kiddush.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beinu ben b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheishen yamim chasa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. U'bayom ha'shvi Shabbat v'yinachash Shabbat v'yinachash Shabbat v'yinachash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Kim yirach Adonai Yom Shabbat ve'kadeshehu sabri chamerai Barachat Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Before Yadayim and Hamotzi, there is a cake outside in honor of the state of Israel. It is not for display, it is for eating, so please make sure that you enjoy. Yadayim and Hamotzi.